So in today's video we're looking at how do we energise engagement. In his book, which is called Drive, Daniel Pink explains how what has motivated us has evolved as we have evolved. He basically says that the first kind of drive, motivational drive that we discovered was the internal biological drive. And so when we think about this, we think about evolution, we think about us being primates and needing to survive, and so those sort of basic primal needs for food, for shelter, for water, going from that hunter-gatherer tribes that was all about survival to the agricultural revolution, where we had the beginning of farming, settling, we had more stable communities. And that all the way from then until especially and particularly the Industrial Revolution, which created factories, assembly line production. So this second drive that management has lent on for generations has been about how do you motivate and monitor people to do repetitive, routine, monotonous tasks. But then we've arrived at the digital age, the information age. We've left behind lots of the assumptions and the norms and the realities of the Industrial Revolution, where things were stable, repetitive, known, predictable. And now what we need in this information age is we need people to bring their creativity and innovation, their intelligence, their problem solving. And thankfully, the work is often, particularly in our culture, or certainly in the context that we're talking about, is more rewarding, it's more interesting. For that, we need to engage this third drive, the intrinsic motivation, that actually doing the work is rewarding in itself, that we enjoy becoming good at things, we enjoy solving problems. What we really need to harness, what we really need to connect with for motivating engagement in the present day is this internal motivation that allows people to remember, to connect with, that they want to do good work, that they want to make a contribution that matters. But as Daniel Pink points out, we've got a problem, which is that our sort of organisational cultures and our management practices haven't yet caught up with this revelation. By giving people external rewards and punishments, it actually can stop people fueling their work with the inner drive that they had to do a good job anyway. So what do we do about it? How do we connect with and energise this third drive, this intrinsic motivation? Intrinsically motivated behaviour is driven by three things. It's nurtured by three things, and they are autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Autonomy is basically being self-directed, so being in charge of your own goals, your own aims, and we'll clarify a bit more about what autonomy means and how it can be broken down in a minute. Mastery, which is about becoming better and better at something that really matters. And purpose, which means that we actually want to be in service of a cause. We want to be in service of something that's bigger than ourselves, a larger purpose. So how do we do that practically in our coaching sessions? Well, first of all, we need to try and start reconnecting people with purpose. We need to raise the bar. We need to be asking questions about what energises their engagement. How does the topic that they're bringing for coaching, how is it about more than just sort of laying a brick? And how does it connect back to building a cathedral? How does it link back to the bigger, broader purposes that the individual, the team, the organisation is about? And how is making progress in this area part of fulfilling a bigger sense of purpose? Another thing we can do, another stretch that we can bring for our coaching clients, is that we can try and help them pursue longer term growth rather than just shorter term goals. And talking about mastery also brings us back to remembering about flow and those three key ingredients that we need for flow, which are having clear goals, immediate feedback, and a balance between challenge and capability. And lastly, the third stretch is around autonomy, this idea of helping clients to feel and to be self-directed. And that can sometimes feel like a tension within an organisational context. You are, after all, working with somebody who's employed and paid by a business or for a specific job description to achieve sort of agreed outcomes. But there is a more sophisticated way to think about this. And what coaching does is it enables the coachee to align individual and organisational goals, to think, well, what really matters to me, what really matters to the organisation, and where is the sweet spot between that is something that I can really focus on and work on. And by that, I'm getting to work in a way that fulfills my own desires and also fulfills the needs of the team, the organisation, and hopefully beyond that, society and the world. If one were to undertake that task and find that there really is no crossover there, firstly, I think that would be very unlikely, because even if somebody is realising that they're in a job for a short period of time as a stepping stone to get somewhere else, as soon as you can see that it's a stepping stone, you have connected with a broader sense of purpose. But secondly, if you do find that there is some sort of conflict, that is something very helpful to surface, because maybe there's an incompatibility there between the organisation and the employee. 4 areas which might help you to think it through with your coachee. Autonomy over 4 T's. And those 4 T's are task, so what are we doing? Time, so when are we doing it and when does it need to be completed by? Technique, which is the how piece, so having some autonomy over how I'm going to try and achieve the task. And the team, who am I going to work with and collaborate with on this? And actually, again, we're most motivated when we've got autonomy in all of those areas. But I wonder what level of autonomy does your coachee feel they have in each of those areas? And is there a way of dialing that up in any of those areas? Lastly, Daniel Pink says that organisations must provide scaffolding to help every employee find his footing, to make this transition from the old management system to the new management system, from control to autonomy. And I think that's what we're doing in the coaching work and in working with coachees, is we're helping provide some scaffolding for them to make this transition from just being told what to do to being supported to identify their own goals that are in line with the organisation's goals, and then engage this intrinsic motivation, which is the most powerful drive to help them improve their performance through autonomy, mastery and purpose.